Welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is sponsored by Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is an open-source, lightning-fast demo, development, and testing platform. It spins up Drupal sites in less than 5 seconds, complete with a browser-based VS Code. Want to try Drupal CMS, Drupal AI, Experience Builder? No need to install anything on your laptop. Drupal Forge has you covered. Even Composer, Drush, and AI keys are pre-installed so you can hit the ground running. Demo Drupal in less than 5 seconds only at Drupal Forge. Please take a second to click subscribe. We're a new podcast and this helps us a lot. Okay, that's it. Ready? Here we go.
Have you ever found yourself just staring at your content management system, maybe Drupal, maybe something else, and feeling that familiar sense of dread? You know, looking at all the digital clutter, trying to figure out what's actually being used, what's just gathering digital dust, or frankly, what's just a complete mess. Well, if that sounds familiar, you'll want to stick around. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating new Drupal module that promises to help cut through all that. It's called Field Data. And our insights for this deep dive, they come straight from a Talking Drupal YouTube transcript. We've got commentary from the module's creator and maintainer himself, Jacob Rockowitz. So our mission today is basically to unpack how this deceptively simple tool can be a massive shortcut to actually understanding your content. It can reveal some surprising things and give you practical ways to get a real handle on your data.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more than just looking at a new tool, isn't it? It's really about exploring a solution, quite an elegant one, I think, to a super common, often really frustrating problem in content management, which is just gaining clarity, getting control over these huge amounts of field data. It's about trying to bring some order to what often feels like, well, digital chaos.
Oh, that sense of chaos is so relatable. And that leads us straight to the person who tackled it, Jacob Rockowitz. Now, he's a Drupal consultant, pretty well known, maintains a lot of modules, and he created field data just recently, actually, February 2025. It's currently an alpha release, 1.0 alpha 12 to be specific.
Right. And when we say alpha status, it's probably worth pausing on what that means practically. It means it is being actively maintained, which is good. It even has test coverage already. That's a great sign for an early release. But, and this is the important part, it doesn't have security coverage yet. So, you wouldn't push this live onto a production site right now. Its real power, and this seems to be what Jacob intended, really shines in those staging or development environments. That's where you need to review and deeply understand your data before you go live or migrate. It's critical there.
And what's really striking about it, apparently, is just how simple it is. It comes with very basic default settings, like it only shows published nodes and data for the default language initially, which is smart, right? Keeps things focused, helps you avoid getting bogged down, reviewing maybe automated translations that could kind of skew your audit. It apparently has minimal documentation too, just a GRI file. But the best bit, I think, from what was described is this animated GIF on Drupal.org. It's like a perfect little visual explanation that just instantly shows you what it does.
Yeah, those GIFs can be great. And this focused simplicity might explain why the adoption rate is still pretty low, something like 34 sites. And apparently about half of those are Jacob's own sites, which isn't really a criticism, I don't think. It kind of suggests it's a tool that solves a very specific, maybe even a bit of an inside baseball kind of problem. It's for people who really feel the pain of analyzing content data. It solves that specific need really well. It's not trying to be everything to everyone, and maybe that's its strength.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, for someone who is feeling that pain, staring down a mountain of content, how does field data actually help? Like, what's the core thing it does, and how do you use it?
Okay, so at its heart, field data solves one main problem, needing to quickly review all the data sitting inside one specific field across a whole content type or bundle. And it plugs right into Drupal core quite neatly. If you've ever used the field list report in the field UI, you find it under reports field list. This module just adds an extra tab there called data.
Okay. So it builds on something familiar. That's smart. Could you maybe walk us through what using it looks like?
Sure. So you go to that field list report. It shows you all your entity types, nodes, users, whatever, and their bundles, this article or page. You click on a bundle, say article, to see all the fields for articles. And now with this module installed for each field, you'll see that new data tab. Click that, and it gives you this immediate kind of aggregated view of all the different values stored in that specific field across all your articles. It's
Yeah.
powerful because it instantly shows you things like how many entries use this field, how many are empty, are there weird values in there. It lets you spot fields that are barely used or maybe not used at all across the whole site really quickly.
Wow. Okay. I can immediately see how useful that is. It's like, yeah, shining a spotlight into those dusty corners of your content database. And if you find something interesting, or maybe something that needs cleaning up, can you actually get that data out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a key feature. You can export all that field data as a CSV file, which is, incredibly useful. You can use it for cleaning up data directly or pull it into a spreadsheet for more detailed reports or just keep it for documentation. And what's really impressive, apparently, is how fast it is. Even if you have hundreds, maybe thousands of records, it's very performant. It's designed cleverly. It only loads the raw data directly from the database tables. It doesn't load the full Drupal entity for each one. That makes it much quicker.
That is clever. Okay, so let's talk about real-world scenarios. The source material, the Talking Drupal transcript, mentioned migrations as a really key driver for why Jacob built this. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that seems to be the origin story. Migrations were a primary use case. Jacob apparently developed it specifically while working on a Drupal to Drupal migration, maybe like an old Drupal 8 site to a newer Drupal version. Because when you're facing a content migration, often the biggest hurdle is just figuring out what data you actually have before you start planning how to move it. Yeah. This tool gives you a super easy way to just look at that existing data and start making informed calls.
Right. I've definitely been there. You can't really build a migration plan with confidence if you don't truly know what you're migrating, can you? Sounds like it would be invaluable for general content architecture planning too, not just migrations.
Precisely. Yeah, beyond migrations, it's a fantastic auditing tool. Think about it. When you're moving content, sure, but also just when you're trying to optimize an existing site. It helps you pinpoint those, legacy fields, ones nobody's actually using anymore, so you can make a solid decision to just remove them. It's all about getting that quick, thorough insight to make informed choices and avoid dragging along all that digital baggage.
And it's not just about finding unused fields, is it? The source had a really great example about finding bad data. Jacob apparently used it to look at a long title field. It was set as required, right?
Yeah.
But when he audited it with this tool, he found like 20 records that all had the exact same totally useless placeholder title, just copied and pasted in. So that shows how it goes beyond just usage stats. It can actually reveal deeper issues, maybe with the content architecture itself, or perhaps how editors are being trained or guided.
That's a brilliant anecdote, yeah, and it highlights a really common issue. What's really smart about the tool, though, is that the entity ID listed in that field data table, it's a link.
Oh, nice.
So you can click straight through to the actual piece of content that had the problem. Lets you immediately investigate, okay, why is this bad data here? Or what went wrong in this specific case? Having that direct link without the performance hit of loading up all the entities first, that's a really thoughtful detail. Makes investigation much easier.
So field data clearly has this nice focus on simplicity. Were any other tools mentioned that try to solve similar problems? How does this one stack up?
Yeah, a couple were mentioned. Jacob apparently brought up Schema Viewer. Now, that's a powerful tool, shows you all your database tables. But it's often overkill if all you need is a quick look at your field data specifically.
Right.
Then there's Entity Export CSV that lets you export node data and stuff, but it usually needs more configuration up front. And it doesn't really offer the same kind of immediate aggregated review capability that field data seems to provide right out of the box. So yeah, it really highlights field data's specific niche. That simple, direct field-level review.
Okay, good context. And actually, before we move towards wrapping up, there was a quick side tip Jacob gave in the interview that I wanted to pass on. He gave a shout out to another module called Migration Boost, said it literally saved his migration project. Apparently, it let him turn off problematic modules during the migration process itself, and it basically doubled the performance. So maybe a little bonus tip there for anyone listening who's facing migration headaches.
Oh, that's a great practical takeaway. Definitely worth noting. Okay, so shifting back to field data itself, Jacob apparently described the module as kind of done, which is an interesting thing to say about an alpha release. What does that sort of tell us about its scope and maybe its future?
Yeah, kind of done. It does seem to imply that the core functionality, what it was built to do, is already really solid and effective. Like it nails its primary purpose already.
Exactly. It really speaks to a very focused development goal, doesn't it? I think there was a mention of a potential future feature, something about maybe comparing options in a select list to see how often each one is used. But As Jacob also noted, you can pretty much already do that analysis just by exporting the data to CSV and running a simple report yourself in a spreadsheet.
Ah, right.
So yeah, that kind of done feeling really emphasizes that the core utility is there, it's effective. Maybe he solved the problem so elegantly that it just doesn't need much more complexity.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together then. The field data module sounds like this simple but surprisingly performant tool. It basically takes what can be a really complex, often quite daunting task understanding your content fields and makes it into a clear, actionable process. It helps you get answers quickly, without a ton of hassle.
Yeah, its real value definitely seems to shine through for anyone doing content migrations or maybe performing those big site audits or even just trying to clean up and optimize their current content architecture. It boils down to gaining that quick, thorough knowledge you need to make genuinely informed decisions about, arguably, your most valuable digital asset, your content itself.
So thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening right now? Consider how really deeply understanding your existing content, right down to the field level, could do more than just streamline your next big project, like that migration or redesign. What if it could also reveal hidden patterns, or maybe opportunities for content improvement you just never noticed before? How might that level of insight empower your future content strategy, whatever your role or platform might be? Something to think about.
That is a wrap on today's Drupal brief. Remember, this was an AI-generated summary, so be sure to check out the original source for the full story and all the details. Before you go, if what you heard today got you excited about trying something new in Drupal, remember that Drupal Forge has you covered. Whether you want to test that new module, demo a concept to your team, or just explore the latest Drupal features, you're literally 5 seconds away from a fully loaded development environment. No downloads, no setup, no hassle. Just pure Drupal innovation at your fingertips. If this episode was helpful, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It really helps other Drupal developers discover the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next Drupal Brief.